And if the runner is ready, we'll start the countdown. You ready? All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we're playing Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. It's a remake of Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap from 1989 for the Sega Master System. And this game starts right before the final battle of Wonder Boy 3. So the last boss in Wonder Boy 3 is the first boss in Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. So the first boss will be Mecha Dragon. It's a super easy fight. We just want to kind of zerg him out of the screen, let him shoot, and then 2-cycle him. So what's happening now is that we're getting cursed. So he was transformed into Lizard Man, and now we must find the Salamander Cross in order to regain our humanity again. So as we make our way out of the castle, we need to collect 15 gold coins so that we can buy a sword in the market. And if you look right here, he's crouching because that makes it so that you can kind of ride the pillar as it's created. Had he been standing, he would have been knocked off and would have had to wait for the falling blocks to kind of assemble so that he could jump back up. So this is where the game kind of starts. And the first thing we want to do is that we want to go to the beach, where we will pick up a key. And here we will also have the only intentional death in the speedrun. And we die here because it's faster to death warp back to the village than what it is to walk back after we picked up the key. So we take some intentional damage, so we're within 1 hit of death. And then we pick up the key, go outside, and die. Oh, too bad. In the no major skips category, we're not allowed to save and quit out. So that's why we're taking the death here. So now we're back in town. We're going to pick up a safety heart. And we're also going to buy the sword for the 15 gold that we collected in the burning castle. We pick up the safety heart here for the sake of the run. It's a glass cannon build, so we're just buying what we need. So it's safer to have an extra heart. And after that, we're off hunting the mummy dragon. So the run itself is pretty straightforward. There are no skips, so it's basically just playing the game as fast as possible. um, with the best routing possible, and getting the items you need as planned and as perfect as possible. And we pick up some extra cash. And what we want to do with the Mummy Dragon boss is that we want to kind of manipulate his attack pattern. So we take the third attack as close to the left-hand side as possible. And what this does is that it stops him from attacking all the way down to the left. If he were to go there, he would make an attack there and would make his cycle a bit slower. So what we can hope for is that as he returns, that he does kind of the lower glide. We're having really bad RNG now. He's going top. Very much top. And yeah, that's the attack we wanted to stop, kind of. There we go. So now we become the mouse man. The little guy who can walk on checkered blocks. So he can scale walls and even walk upside down. That's his special ability. And on our way towards Zombie Dragon, we're going to stop and pick up some extra cash. And we're going to go and shop for safety armor and shield. And once we've done that, we're going to pick up some more cash and buy an even better sword as well. And then we're off to hunt the Zombie Dragon. This remake was developed by Lizard Cube, and it's a straight remake of the 1989 game, meaning that it is as true as it can be to the original. So, I mean, all the way down to the glitches. The gameplay was kind of reverse engineered from the original Master System code, and it was released on most systems, most platforms in 2017. And it seems it's been gaining the most of its traction on the Nintendo Switch, outselling every other platform, basically. The way to the zombie dragon is pretty straightforward. It's just a bit tedious. If this had been a charity run, this would have been a good time for donations. Likewise with the zombie dragon boss, which is really kind of RNG dependent if you get good patterns. And you might wonder why we switched to 8-bit mode right before entering the boss rooms. And that's because the remake has a little kind of boss introduction cutscene, which the classic mode does not. So we save a little time by entering the boss in 8-bit mode. And with this boss, we just have to wait for him to come up out of the acid before we can hit him. So there's no real time-saving possibilities here. When we defeat him, we will transform into the Piranha Man, or the fish guy, which he has the ability to swim. And then we'll be going on a little detour. All right, so we beat the zombie dragon. Now, more or less right after we exit here, we're going to pick up a little bonus key. That key there will save us some time and effort in the end game later. Take another safety heart. So now we're gonna go off the beaten path. We're going to pick up the Thunder Ring, which allows us to break blocks. And we're doing that so that we can pick up the Magic Sword, which allows us to make blocks So you gotta break him before you can make him, I guess. And on the way there, we're going to buy the dragon armor, which allows us to freely walk in lava. This is something that the lizard man can do. However, in order to get to where we want to go, we also need to be able to swim. So that's why we need to pick up the armor on the way here. Yeah, I think some bad luck with the flowers. So, some more cash. Some lightning. And now we have the dragon armor. So now we're invincible underwater, or rather we don't take any damage from lava. And this is why we needed to be the fishman. The lizard guy can't get over that pillar, so he wouldn't have been able to reach this room. And now we want to be the mouse again, so that we can scale the wall in the next room. So in that chest is a thunder ring, which allows us to break the brown blocks. And now we're going to get two other swords. So we're going to go and buy the Muramasa, which is the strongest sword in the game. And then we're also going to pick up the magic sword, which allows us to create blocks at specific areas where we need to go in order to beat the game. So this is where we get the magic sword. So now we can create blocks wherever we have these gray star block thingies. If we hit them with the magic sword, they become breakable blocks. And now we're back in town, transformed to Piranha Man. And we're going to hunt Captain Dragon. So now we're going back to the beaten path. There's an input glitch in this game where if you're the fishman and you're swimming, you can glitch the game so that you kind of start to ascend and you keep swimming out of water and basically start to fly. So you can go out of bounds and bypass areas. That is not something we do in this run. We're making our way towards the hardest boss in the game, and you'll see why really soon. All right, here we go. So this boss is a pushover. Every time you hit him, he jumps into the middle. So you can basically just stun lock him by hitting him as soon as he jumps into the middle. So good fight, good night. Now we're going to farm some boss coins before we transform into the Lion Man. The Lion Man is the strongest character in the game. And his ability is that he swings at an arch. So he can hit blocks at his own feet, like that. Which gives him access to areas where the other characters can't go. Because their attacks are only in a straight line ahead. They're thrusting attacks forward. We're now going to buy the Tasmanian sword, which is a secret weapon in the game, which allows us to freely transform into any character we want at any given time, which will save us a lot of time in the end game, because we're not bound by what character the game dictates that we are during the final stage of the game. So we're going to towards the secret room. First we will pick up some more cash and a potion. And then we're going to another secret room where we're going to buy the Tasmanian sword. So here we are in the first secret room. Get some monies. That should be enough. The Tasmanian sword is 1,400. We have that pretty much in the bag. So we make our way to the secret shop, which is up here. And there we got the boomerang. That's basically the best weapon in the game. And unlike the other kind of magic items, which are consumable, meaning that they're lost after use. If you pick up the boomerang after you've thrown it, when it comes back, it's not consumed. So you will always have a projectile weapon. And as you can see, it really helps in defeating the samurai. The way to the Daimyo dragon is pretty straightforward. Just avoid the ninjas and kill the samurai. We're good to go. Now the Daimyo dragon fight is a bit tricky. Ideally, we want to kind of stun him out of his attack pattern. But it's a bit more difficult than with the other bosses. As you'll see in just a second. So ideally, we want to keep jumping on him when he has his sword raised. The tricky part, though, is if you jump too close, you end up taking damage, and if you jump too far away, you miss him. So you want to be kind of precise with your jumps, and that's a good fight. It's a really good fight. So now we become Hawkman. He's a bird, so he can fly. Surprise. So we pick up some more cash. And then we're going to visit the last shop we will visit in this run, where we will restock on potions and magic items. So now we are entering kind of the final stage of the game. And this is where we use the bonus key we picked up before. Saved us 200 gold and a couple of minutes of running. There's an interesting thing that happened there, where he used the magic sword to produce a block. And as the block was produced during the same attack animation, he switched to a regular sword. So he also destroyed that block in the same attack where he created it. And that just, that saved us a couple of milliseconds since he didn't have to jump and do the attack twice. Now we're in the final stage of the game. And this is where it's super awesome to have the Tasmanian sword. Because we can freely transform. As you can see now, we're not meant to be the bird here. So we can just fly through. It saves a lot of time. They want us to be a walking character here, so we just transfer at will, and we can fly over all these pesky ground creatures. This is the worst room of the game. There is so much stuff to dodge, and it's really RNG heavy. So right before the last boss, we're going to switch back to the Lion Man with the Muramasa, because it's the strongest character in the game with the strongest weapon in the game, and it should net us only 4 hits to kill the final boss. And where the dragon comes down is random. So again, we're hoping for a good pattern. Alright, so here are the final boss. We're having some bad RNG with the final boss. And alright, so that was the final boss. We're coming up on time, I'll call it. And time. Good job. 32:22. That's a pretty good time. What's the world record time?
I don't remember.
It's 31 something, right? Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the speedrun. This is Physica. I'm Neo Dragon. And thanks for watching.